Oh, we're live. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Taylor Field, and that is right. I am here for Paranormal Activity Next of Kin. This is a spoilers review. So, if you haven't seen the movie, go watch it, come back, and we'll get into all the details. Before we get to those details, though, a couple of things I just want to promote. Next weekend, we have officially less than 7 days now, our 24-hour, fifth year annual traditional Extra Life charity stream. BC Children's Hospital, we have a goal of $2,500, everybody. So we are going to be staying up for 24 hours total. Our goal, if we hit it, will allow me to shave off all of this hair, which I need to shave it. I can't take it anymore. I want to get a haircut so bad, but this is not me, and I don't feel good. I need to get it cut for those kids. If we hit $3,000 as a stretch goal, the one and only Jessica will actually shave her head as well. So I have two bald people at the stream, which will be fan-freaking-tastic. So we definitely want to hit that 3,000 mark. Okay, what else do we got for plugs? This week, we have newscasts. We'll have another Chucky review coming out by yours truly. And of course, Marvel's Eternals. There'll be a review for that dropping. I believe there will be a Guardians of the Galaxy game progress review that'll be dropping this week as well, coming from Travis and Kirklin. And I think that just about does it for what we got going on. But anything else, check us out on our home base, GeekVerse.ca. GeekVerseCast is our Twitter, GeekVerse on our Facebook, and then on our Patreon, because you can get ad-free exclusive early episodes via our Patreon. So it's a good time all around. And on top of that, happy Halloween. I mean, it's podcasting on Halloween. What a great vibe. It feels spooky. I feel like there's going to be like an element in the air or something like coming at me, an apparition. And it'll be on camera too. My room is prone to having the doors open up by themselves and stuff. There's noises in the walls, so it should be a good time. So, Paranormal Activity, the seventh one, Next of Kin. I'm going to go into some non-spoilers, and then I'll give you the countdown when I jump into the spoiler route. So, my history with Paranormal Activity is extremely sporadic. These films came out when I was still in high school. I was still young, so I never really got onto them right away. It wasn't until the second one or the fourth one, again, sporadic. Either of those I saw in theaters, I'm pretty sure. I think it was the fourth one. It made me go back, watch the second one. I enjoyed the second one. The fourth one I enjoyed. I kind of really sporadically watched them, and I did not see them in any cohesive order, which would probably make the most sense, but it's just the way I got around to seeing these movies. So when I got through all of them, finally, I thought, okay, there's actually not a bad story here, and it's spooky. The downside with the Paranormal Activities, though, it's such a long build-up session in all these films that when you get to the end, when the last good, juicy stuff is going on with the paranormal moments and the craziness and the spookiness, it's like 5 minutes and then it's over. Just really, really like the ultimate tease, and then you just get like stripped away and it's gone. So yeah, it is what it is. I'm amazed that they managed to generate 6 films based on this kind of philosophy or like script writing, I guess you could say. But here we are on the 7th film. Now, Next of Kin, me personally, I found it to be refreshing, a change of pace, and I don't want to say quite different, but I remember reading into the director's notes on this film. They wanted to create something where you didn't have to go back to 2009 and watch the other films starting from there to connect to this point. It's treated as like it's a soft reboot, basically, which I think is great because treating it this way, again, it helps bring in new fans. If you look at Star Wars, obviously you want to go back and you want to get to know these characters in the original trilogy and the prequels and everything. But the new generation of kids, they can hop right onto the train of Star Wars Force Awakens and they can start with that. And then if they're curious, then they can go back and they can watch these other things. So I think that's a great way of tackling movies these days. I think it's very fun to bring in a new generation of moviegoers. And with Paranormal Activity, it does have a very rich history that focused on this family, this possession. So they've expanded from that, obviously, with this movie. And if you've seen the trailers, if you haven't, I'll tiptoe around it. Basically, this woman is trying to find her biological family, and it leads her to a community in the woods, basically. So you can imagine the kind of stuff that would unfold with that. So, without further ado, we're gonna get into some spoilers because I gotta talk about some of this stuff. So, 3, 2, 1. We're in spoiler territory. Okay. I feel like I should start at the beginning, but I'm just gonna jump right to the end because this has been nagging at my mind. Uh, the main character, the lady, who is obviously related to Sarah and the community and everything like that, she gets into no, I feel guilty going right to the end. I gotta build to it. Okay. Oh, she reaches out. She learns, okay, there's her someone is related to her biological mom, the family, and they're in an Amish community. So she sits out with a friend. They meet up with a sound guy. They connect with one of these people that left the community for a while. Go back to the community. They want nothing to do with him at first. It seems because he's returning to the community and he's supposed to be there, kind of like bridging the gap to get the girl back into this community to see her biological family. They don't want anything to do with him, so they all leave. And then I can't remember the little boy's name, but there's a little boy that goes and follows them to their motel room. This community is in the middle of nowhere. Obviously, no cell service or anything. It's an Amish community. So a little boy follows them, like creeps in through the window and scares them. And they decide, okay, we're going to take the boy back to the community. So they take the boy back to the community. And things just start to get a little paranormal. So they're granted to stay on the property. And so the woman is learning a little bit more about her history and everything like that. And you start to realize there's something a little bit off about this community. So as things progress, things are obviously getting a little bit more, janky and freaky. But the interesting thing with this is, yes, it has that cliche Paranormal Activity slow buildup, but it has these fresh elements and even the camera perspectives too that make it feel not like it's handheld found footage the whole time. It feels more so like it's kind of like an actual movie shoot, I guess you could say. And I say that because it genuinely does have moments where it's like a side camera and it's taking filming, which I think is great. So I love that they were able to actually pull through and do that because it gives it a more fresh take perspective is what I'm trying to say. A fresh angle. So moving on from that, obviously she's sneaking into parts of the farm where she's not supposed to go. They learn that there's this church and they're not allowed in it. There's many things that they're not allowed to actually do without permission from higher ups on the community. So aside from the church, they realize, okay, that there's even some really demonic things going on with the farm animals. You have them creeping in on all the people gathered underground under this barn and seeing this, I'm assuming a sheep with two heads that's born, and they kill it. And I don't know the full origin of why what will cause that. At this point, at least in the movie, you don't know and you start to learn, but it's not a good sign. When you see two-headed sheep, no, you gotta be out. And that's the one thing that bothers me is the severity of things, and these people just don't go out. They just stick around. Now, you start to learn more and more like, okay, there's something very important about this girl and why she was given up. And as we learned at the beginning of the film, there's security footage of when she was a little baby, her mom putting her at the hospital doorstep and then leaving her. And you wonder why, obviously, because it's the whole mission of this girl is to learn why her mom gave her up. This community seems like a cool, kind little community, but you obviously learn, okay, there is a sinister intention behind this as to why. So, with that being said, we finally get to a point where uh the the character undergoes like some very traumatic things by seeing some horrible stuff in the attic, learning of the secret room, and just like This room was obviously at one point, I'm assuming Sarah's, and was locked up in there because I can't imagine why else this room would be locked up as it is. Needless to say, they keep it bolted up and everything like that. And she goes up there, she finds a secret room, she finds this note, she finds this envelope with all this other information inside, and then she gets locked in there. And you see obviously some scary moments like compression coming down on the bed and everything. So she's got to get out of the room. She gets out, and the next day comes around. I don't know why people don't relook at the cameras and just see that there's paranormal stuff going on and choose to get the hell out of there. Blows my mind, but here we are. So she does that and she continues on. Now, the sound guy, he's quite humorous, but he's definitely aware, okay, there's some weird stuff going on. So you start to learn and get little tidbits. Obviously, she's talking to this doll, and I'm pretty sure this was even in the commercial. She's talking to this girl playing with this doll, and the girl is like, "Oh, this is named Sarah," and she's like, "Oh, my mom's name is Sarah," and I'm paraphrasing, of course. She's like, "Oh, I missed her so much. Like, wish she was here." And the little girl's like, "She's still here," and that's a turn off because you think, okay, then there's some real weird shit going on if that's the case. So continuing on from that, then you have you have the whole debacle of like the debacle that, and this is what really just bothers me, is something is horribly wrong and the other characters are all just not really like working together in the sense, like they're just trying to explore and figure out more and more what the problem is and where this root of unknownness is. But you have the inkling and the confirmation that your mom is still here. She's not come out to see you. There's something wrong. Everyone is kind of acting very weird. You see red glowing lights from this church out far in the distance in the woods. There's just all these different triggers and these different switches that you need to pay attention to that are not okay. Now, like I said earlier, when these movies get to a certain point that the ending is coming, and then you get 3 minutes of the ultimate just pleasure moment, and then it just ends, and it really sucks because it's like, that's just a tease, right? And Paranormal Activities have a great form of repetition when it comes to that. They love to do that in all their films. Now with this, I applaud Next of Kin because they didn't go that route. They went a different way. And when we got to the end, which didn't even feel necessarily like it was the end, when we got to the peak paranormal part, this film had a great, which felt like, I think, like 10, 15 minutes of just consistent, cohesive, paranormal, crazy wackiness. And in the past, movies usually get like one person that's just kind of like walking around possessed, and they do like one like backhand swing or some paranormal thing and superhero stunt. You're like, oh, wow, that's crazy. She's possessed. But on this front, we got a character that was full on Smeagol looking and an actual physical entity that we got to look at and be terrified by. So in the middle of the night, obviously, your two guys they've been drugged and they can't wake up, and the house is acting all super creepy. The girl is walking around, and then she starts getting paranormally like ripped out of the house. The people, without anyone else knowing, I feel like they did something or whatnot to expedite this because she clearly is possessed. You look at her bed in the morning, she's bleeding, and they're referring it to her, time of the month and everything. The guys are like, well, this is really weird and we need to take her to the hospital. The paranormal or the Amish people are like, no, you don't have to take them. No, leave her here. So they're like, okay, we're gonna go into town, we're gonna get the car battery, we'll be back. Dumb idea. They left her there. Whatever. They start walking to town thinking no car is going to come. Then all of a sudden a mail truck comes up. And then this is where you get some more insight into the community. Mail guy picks him up, says, I've been delivering this route for 40 years. Now, the people you're with, the farm, they're not Amish. Like, well, of course they're Amish. Like, no. Everyone around here who's Amish, they'll say that family, they're not Amish. And you learn that it's a cover. Now, they do have a name at this point for something demonic that they can reference. And when they get to town and they get to the car battery store, they get the car battery, and they're also using the computer, and they look up the name of this demonic entity. And then you learn, okay, it basically has been contained inside a human form, and that prevents it from jumping around and all this jazz. So you get a lot more insight into what's going on, which is great because now we know what the threat is and these guys can deal with it. They get back They literally hiked through the snow and they got back and she's not in the room. Their stuff is all gone out of the house. They don't know what's going on. The one guy goes, the sound tech guy, heads to the the van. He installs the battery. Great. The other guy goes to the church. And this is where he meets again the older gent who is their host, and he's pointing a gun at him. The two struggle and they fight. He knocks the old guy. The old guy falls down this hole. Now, we did get to see this hole earlier on, but here's the hole again. He falls down the hole. And I love this movie because there's so many things you can, it's not just a blank moment waiting for you to use your peripheral vision to notice something, one singular thing. This movie is, in my opinion, great at having certain elements you're supposed to focus on, but at the same time using your peripheral vision to see other things. And the other movies have executed that little, but I feel like this movie definitely just kind of shoveled a big load of snow with it and just threw it over its shoulder and just which is a good thing. That's a good reference. So the old man falls down the hole and it was very eerie. He fell down. He definitely did not make it. He was toast. So the other guy, he heard the screams of the girl down there. So he's like, okay, I got to go down there. And he sends his way down. And when he gets down to the bottom, the guy is literally like broken in half like a stick, which is brutal. He hears noises. He goes through the tunnels. And then he sees this white salt circle and he sees the body of his friend. It basically just kind of disregards everything. It disregards the salt, disregards the entity in the chair in the back of the room, pushes the woman aside and is like waking the girl up, like, we got to get out of here. We got to get out of here. So what this was, it was a ritual. Sarah's bloodline is the bloodline that could contain this demonic entity. And I can't remember the demon's name. She gave away her daughter to avoid that kind of fate to her. And it's just brutal to think about. So, but here is the daughter came back home. Now they want to put the demon inside her because if they don't, everything will go crazy. It'll just go absolutely horrible for the family, the world, as this demon can escape. So when they they're trying to put the demon inside her, the guy wakes her up, nudges the old lady aside, and the salt is broken around her. Not good at all, because now you see the entity and behind the old lady with long limbs and appendages starting to stand up and make noise. It's like, what the hell is going on? And the entity, which they blurred out very well at this point, it didn't look CGI'd. The entity grabs the old lady, starts ripping her out, and then the two people like run off. The entity realizes it's on a chain, so it can't catch them. They get to the winch and they're like, oh no, like the winch, like who's going to pull this up? Who's going to pull this up? And then they hear the other guy up top who put the car battery in. And this is probably one of my most favorite Paranormal Activity moments of all time. It's just, it delivers and it is super spooky. So he gets the girl in and they lift the girl up. And all you can do is just sit at the bottom of this well with this guy. There's like 2 tunnel points and he's just looking behind and it's just you're waiting for something to come and it is absolutely terrifying. Oh my god. You start to hear the chain chinking multiple times and okay, it's trying to break the chain. And after that you hear the last chain chink and oh shit, it broke the chain. Demonic Sarah Gollum Smeagol just broke the chain and the thing is coming back down and he gets in and you can hear like nothing. It's freaky as hell and it's all dark. So he like puts himself into the satchel thing and then he's like, come on, pull me up. And his buddy starts reeling him up. He's going up the hole. Now, it's just the way you can not relate because I've never been in this situation, but the way that it kind of pulls you and it makes you feel like you actually are in this moment. He's up only like 4 or 5 feet from the ground and this thing's crawling on all fours right underneath him and it just growls all of a sudden. Absolutely freaking terrifying. It bloody well freaked me out so hard that I loved every second of it because I just felt like, holy shit, I feel like I'm 4 feet above this. No, I'm not. I'm on the couch. So he goes up and you just hear the thing growling down below him. He gets out of the hole. Oh, he's at the top. They're like, okay, we got to leave. And they're about to move. And then they see the winch kind of like pull down a little bit. Like, what the hell? So they go and they look at the winch and he stops it from getting like pulled down. And then they look down the hole and they see the thing fast crawling up the wall. No, thank you. They get the heck out of there, and as they get outside, it's not really any better because when they're outside, it's a huge snowstorm. So this thing gets out and is following them through the snowstorm. It manages to get the guy who does the sound stuff, which is very sad. And as it progresses, well, as it progresses, well, I'll tell you that right after this quick ad break. We'll be right back. And we're back. So as it progresses, it gets to this point where it's just the two people left. Now it's quite sad because it was kind of a bummed out moment when the sound guy dies, but he definitely didn't go out nicely. It was brutal how he got killed. They run to the barn, and this is freaky because they barricade themselves in the barn. And again, this is all great because this is like 15 minutes of just crazy shit that's unfolding, and not just 5 minutes of just a brief paranormal experience. This thing's walking around through the barn. You can see it walking amongst the farm animals. They're trying to hide, and I don't know how they're getting out of this situation, but it's just great moments where they climb up this ladder and the guy's about to go up, and you see the camera, he's holding it, and you can see behind him, and you see the thing like walking bipedally towards them, and it's just absolutely terrifying. So he gets up the ladder and they're going, and then they finally see the van and they're gonna go get to the van, but the thing just creeps up, gets the guy, and then is about to get the girl, but the girl's like, Sarah, like, don't you remember me? You're my mother. And the thing's like demonically breathing and walking towards her and stuff. And she takes a slash at it. Really, I believe it kills it because she kicks it down this little like level thing. It falls. It's definitely dead on the ground. And now the demon's released. So they realize, okay, we're in the van and we got to go get the car keys because the keys are not in the van. So they go outside to get the keys. And when they go outside, this is all one of the steps, like pestilence or some sort, but the steps of this demonic demon coming out is the animals would become all deformed and neighbor would turn on neighbor, which is what happened. There's people walking around literally on fire. There's people swinging axes around, killing each other, dead bodies everywhere. It's just brutal. So they managed to get back to their sound guy friend, find the keys. They get out of there. They're dodging Amish people like no fucking tomorrow. They get to the van. Van's not starting. The Amish people jump on the van like crazy villains, trying to get in. They manage to get the van started. They floor it and burst through the barn and start driving off. Now, there's a thing to note here. When they get the van started and they start driving off and the people fall off the van, there's a quick camera pan shot where it's kind of like the girl turns to look in the back of the van and like looks back. It is the briefest thing. You can see there is a boy hiding in the back of the van. I had to rewind it because I thought, okay, I swear I saw something. I was thinking, is it going to be the demon woman again, Sarah? But no, it was a little boy, the same little boy, I believe, who's just kind of been like popping up throughout the film, who was just walking outside in the snow and actually went to the motel at the beginning. Yeah, very crazy little kid. So he's in the back of this van. They drive the van off, and now when I was watching this with Madison, she kind of took it like, hey, there's this like super loud scream that the girl does, thinking like, hey, there must be something that back of the van that gets them, or the van doesn't escape. I took it as, okay, no, this scream that the girl did was no reference to just being attacked or anything. I took it as, hey, I just can't handle this right now. After everything that just happened, I'm done. Like, I'm exhausted. And she just let out this like crazy scream and yell. That was the end of that story. Now, the cops were alerted. I don't know who alerted them, but the cops were. Cop shows up, walks into the barn because he sees everything is just on fire and people are dead and everything like that. But he sees that, I guess I should say he hears baby cries coming up out of the barn. So he goes off into the barn and he's trying to see what the baby's coming from. You see a full grown man, the man who not recruited, but basically helped direct the girl to her family and brought them here. He is shirtless, wearing pants and making baby noises. And he turns around, does a Jedi mind trick, makes the cop shoot himself in the head. Then he just starts walking out. Another cop shows up. And as the cop shows up, the guy's walking out the barn, Cop pulls out his gun and says, "Hey, buddy, easy, buddy, slow down, stop right there." Which you see dead bodies everywhere, and one man walking out of the barn. You know your other officer is not responsive because he's nowhere to be seen. You got to start popping shots. Doesn't matter though because he makes you force kill yourself. Shoots him with the gun. Shoots himself with the gun. He gets into the cop car and then he drives off. I like it because it's very reminiscent and is a nod to the first Paranormal Activity, where you have that main lady who just gets away and she just leaves after she kills. This sense, again, we have a demon that's possessed this guy's body, and he's sitting in the cop car, drives off. So I'm curious to know where we're going to go with that. I 100% do think we'll get a sequel. I think this movie is going to be popular enough that a lot of people will tune into it. It's dropped on Amazon Prime, so not even theatrically, but you can just go right ahead and just start watching this film. Uh yeah, we have obviously Sarah's daughter, the girl who survived, the little boy in the back of the van. We got the camera guy who survived as well. All these different setups for a continued story with these characters. I'm pretty sure this is as well the first Paranormal Activity where the main character has actually survived and made it out alive at the end, which I'm actually very happy for, because when she got possessed, I was thinking this is just not going to go good for her. This is going to be very brutal, not good at all. But she made it out. Camera guy made it out. So I'm very happy with actually how the ending turned out. I just do hope, and I'm pretty confident we will get some kind of sequel take spin-off, because why not? Give me number 8. Aside from that, there were some very creepy, freaky moments that I didn't mention. Again, this was in the trailer, but when the lady's like potato peeling and she's potato peeling her hand and just smiling up, like, that's a hard no. You see an old lady doing that, you get the hell out of there. That's not worth you. I mean, you don't even want to eat those potatoes. Like, seriously. Yeah, the other moments too, just very spooky paranormal stuff, like the boy walking in the snow, the guy's trying to jumpstart the generator, and you see this like figure behind him coming up close. Like, just stuff like that. I feel like they did a really good job pulling off a lot of the scare jumps. So I commend them for their efforts very much so. And I do highly recommend this movie. I would probably give this movie a 7 out of 10. It was definitely a highlight amongst the franchise for me. Again, I like Paranormal Activity 2 and 4, probably because they were the first ones I had seen initially. 3 is good. 1 is great because it just has that originalness, originality to it, the concept. And this one on its own feels refreshing because it pulls that familiar Paranormal Activity vibe and aesthetic that we've enjoyed in those earlier films, and it's brought it into something new and created this whole new take and twist where you don't need to watch those other original films to get to this. That is something I like. Travis informed me that the Paranormal Activity, the marked ones, is actually a spinoff, and I guess it is because you don't need to watch that to actually understand the rest of the story. But I do appreciate that all these movies build this cohesive universe of this demonic realm and these things that are going on, these background forces, I guess you could say. So I definitely recommend checking it out if you have Amazon Prime. It's free. It's Halloween today, ladies and gents. So why not get your spooks on? It is a great time. And with that, that shall conclude my Paranormal Activity and Next of Kin spoilers review. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope we get another one. And I'm sure you will see me again on an upcoming newscast or on the Chucky Spoilers Review episodes. Episode 4 will be out next week, and that'll be a great time, so be sure to check that out. Until next time, I am Taylor, and I have a comment. I have a Kirklin Patzer in the chat. Hell yes. Kirklin, you should go check out this movie. I think you'll definitely enjoy it. But don't watch it alone. Well, until next time, I'm Taylor, and we'll see you in the search bar. Have a good one.